Hello, everybody. Hey, it's late night hoops. It's late night hoops after a double dip of WNBA playoff hoops. We are right here. We're ready for Courtside with Christy and Gabe right here on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. I am Christy Winter-Scott, joined as always by my guy, Gabe Ibrahim, who is back from a 2-week European excursion. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Welcome back.
It was all in Italy, so it was Italian.
I mean, well, still, you were in Europe. So.
It was cool. Yeah, it was it. Yeah. All in Italy, though. This is from a soccer team in Rome.
It's you all suave.
Mr. Europe is, I just like soccer now. Kidding. Let's talk about basketball because obviously WNBA playoffs have begun, as you mentioned. So I would say the results of 3 of the games were not that surprising. And then the Dallas Wings and the Atlanta Dream.
That game.
I still don't know what happened, so I don't want to start there. I still need to process a lot of what happened.
I know.
And I'll be honest right here at the top of this. So I went to take a shower at halftime. And so at that point, Atlanta was losing by a lot. And I thought they were down by 20. So I was like, this seems like a good time to take a shower because nothing's going to happen until, later in the game. So when I came back,
oh God,
it was a tie game. So I missed a lot of that. I got to go back and watch it. I could still figure out, I could piece together what happened based on the replays and how much I was able to rewind during the game. But let's start with the other game that happened tonight, which is Friday night. We're doing this just as the clock turns midnight to Saturday.
It's Saturday. Let's just call it Saturday, late night, early morning Saturday.
Saturday. So we'll talk New York beating Washington.
Yeah.
Christy, what was your experience watching this game tonight?
All right. Well, first of all, we were down at District E, down in D.C., with the fans of the Washington Mystics and the season ticket holders et al. And it was a great environment. We had T-shirt tosses. DJ Heat was there. Wes Hall was there. Kyle on the mic was there. Energy was full blast. Vibes were vibing, Gabe. You missed it, man. You should have come through. But anyway, it was a great environment for a great start to the game where the Mystics just came out of the gates. It looked like they were getting the ball to Elena Deladon a little easier in the first quarter than they did for the remainder of the game. I mean, I think, what did they have, 29 points after the first quarter? And really, I thought, we're whipping that ball around, getting the extra pass. But most importantly, they were knocking in shots. And then after that, it was just kind of like the Mystics were kind of sputtering to get into rhythm. Credit New York's defense. I get it. Washington ran a couple of new sets that they had been working on because I'd been at practice and whatnot. And it was fun to see some of those sets pop up and be executed well in the game. So they were trying to have some great spacing and they got that early on. But then I think New York adjusted to the reads and reactions and took some things away that Washington was trying to get to, especially in their first 2 options in their offense, their first 2 actions. And then I thought in the third quarter, Washington was forcing a lot of shots, contested shots, late in the shot clock, grenade shots that they didn't want to take that New York forced them into. So again, credit New York's defense for kind of being disruptive in that way. But again, just to be around the fans, it was fun, so it kind of felt like a pseudo home game, with the ebbs and flows of how the offense was going or, good defensive stop, slam forcing jump ball. It was like, you feel all that good energy being around everyone. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, you heard what Sabrina Ionescu said at the end of the game. And she said, they waved us off of our home court last time and we wanted to let them know how that felt. And I was like, okay. And I, that's when I went to go take a shower. No, I didn't. I was like, but that was a lot. I mean, it's competitive and that's what Washington did. I mean, Sykes said, hey, this is my stuff. But she didn't say stuff. Anyway, but it's PG, right? Because we don't know when this is going to air. It might be around the time the kids are going to be awake. But no, she said, this is my stuff. Tosh, waved off, which, I mean, that moment was so dramatic and phenomenally competitive. And then, sometimes in those moments that I was telling you, you don't gauge what kind of reaction you're going to ignite from your opponent that you're going to see in a few days. And I'm not saying it was wrong. I loved it. And I love what
it looked fun.
Said, and what Sabrina said, I love. So it's like, I'm not like grading things or being judgmental. I'm just saying, like, in the heat of the moment, things happen and you're just going, this is my stuff. I mean, Slim is from New Jersey, and she and Stewie had AAU battles. I don't know if they were actually teammates, but they played against each other AAU. Yeah. So this is long standing, this kind of rivalry. You know how it is when you play against your friends you grew up with. Come on, man. So there's a lot of heat. It was it went both ways.
Well, so here I'll give the Mystics this. I'm not sure how much it would have been avoidable had they not celebrated so much. So I'm not going to blame it on celebrating so much because this is one of the best teams in the league. Well, one of the two best teams in the league by definition. Yeah. And honestly, I would, a lot of people would say they are number one. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point soon if they're better than Las Vegas, even as we stand right now. But this is a great team that has a lot of weapons, and just because Brianna Stewart did not have a big night, and actually had a bad night. Can we say that?
We can say that because she's averaging 8 points less against Washington all season. Okay, so let's just put that there. She's averaging 23 points on average and 15 against the Mystics all year. And I don't know, I didn't see her final stats today, but I know in that game the other day, at one point she was 1 for 9, and at some point tonight I heard them say Stewart 1 for 9 again against the Mystics. So clearly they were being disruptive there on her and just allowing any kind of comfortability inside on her touches, but it was more the perimeter, right? It was Sabrina.
Yeah, so
got loose.
We have Stewie went 3 of 16.
Yeah. Wow,
but
she did get
four offensive rebounds. She hit 4 free throws. Yeah, not a lot of free throws. There wasn't a lot of free throws in this game going around. There was a lot. A lot of contact.
Yeah,
a lot of contact. But
playoffs, baby.
So four free throws, and then she had 4 offensive rebounds though, which is big. 4 assists. And 3 really big blocks coming up. And those were all, I think a few of them were against the Landella Dom when she had an open look, which could have got her going even more. So, I mean, look, Stewie played a bad game and New York still won. But that's, like you mentioned, it was all, Sabrina was outstanding as usual this season, 29 points, hit 7 threes.
It was 7. You're right. Because that last one with like a minute.
There was the one that she tacked on there at the end, and then it just really efficient night, and she just continues to bomb from 3 this year, which has been what she's been doing. I mean, she wins that 3-point contest, and sometimes that throws people off, right? Come back from 3-point contest, you're not quite the same shooter because everyone's looking out for you. It doesn't matter to Sabrina, and it's extremely hard to defend this team because you have Courtney Vandersloot, who's continually making amazing passes. Yes, Stewie, Courtney Vandersloot, she was incredible. I agree. She had 6 assists, but she has so many more passes that just kickstart things for this offense, get them into the right place. Does a lot for them, and then you have John Jones, who pieced together an okay game, 7 of 12 from the field, 20 points. Wait, she ended up with 20 points?
I mean, yeah,
because it felt at times that she was like really up and down.
Yeah, I thought she was really smooth. I mean, she was a reliable piece. I thought she took her time. And I think that was the difference for her ability. And not that she hadn't necessarily been finishing, but she hadn't really been finishing consistently well, right? So let's just say that. But I love the power game that she brings to the table, right? But I thought when she was in there, I mean, she's giving up 4 or 5 inches of height in the paint. And so I thought that she, so I thought that she was able to use her body really well. I know she got a reverse one time, or, she was able to not necessarily pump fake or show the ball, but she kind of lulled the defense to sleep at times, and didn't take the hurry up and shoot it, in traffic kind of shots that she had been taking. So I think she shot at her pace. She was on her time in there, and I think that's why she had the efficiency that she had tonight, especially in the painted area. So I thought she had some great passes too, but that one pass down, I think it was to Slim, and she didn't finish it, but no indictment. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't just the ability for her to score the ball. I mean, Maisha was making great plays as well that didn't get completed every time, but the thought was there, the awareness was there, the connectivity was there, the spacing. I just thought, her decisions were not rushed either, right? When it came to passing. And even on defense, I thought she did a really good job inside, even though she's undersized.
And I think
height-wise, not heart-wise.
Never energy, never heart, never strength. Honestly, she's stronger.
Can't measure that.
She's stronger also than most bigs, and she's probably just as strong as Jonquel. But for Maisha, I mean, she went. I mean, I think that's kind of why I thought I was kind of like, oh, Jonquel had 20 because you're not watching a stat sheet when you're watching the game. You're just watching the game.
Oh, right.
But I was like, Jonquel had 20. Like, wow, because I didn't realize, because it felt like Maisha kind of not outplayed her, but maybe outplayed her versus our expectations, because Maisha had 21 points tonight. She led the Mystics in scoring, which is definitely outplaying whatever expectations she would have. But to your point, I remember there was a time maybe in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, where Maisha gets the ball at the top of the key in their 5-out offense. Yeah. And she's Slim is asking for the ball back. Brittany Sykes asked for the ball back, and she goes, no, cut. Go set the screen, go screen away, do our action. And as soon as she cuts, she's wide open right at the rim, and it's a beautiful pass right there. And that was one. I feel like that's one of the plays you're talking about. That was like great play. Yeah, unable to be finished. Just not necessarily. It wasn't Sykes. She just caught it in a weird spot. Honestly, I think she was not like expecting it. Yeah, which always expect the ball in the cuts. Always expect the ball to be in your hands. And then Brianna Stewart came over, or Jonquel Jones came over and bothered the shot enough to force a miss. But it was one of those plays where you're like, wow, Maisha really, I think, pieced it together. And that's a big story for the Mystics. before we move on from the Liberty, that I feel we have to mention Benaja Laney. Oh, God. At times, single-handedly kept this team in the game in the first half. Just said, no, we're not. And she does this so often. It's the Rutgers in her. It's the Benaja. She just does this so much now that it's in her DNA to keep this team floating when no one else is playing well. She's gonna make sure she brings it and plays well.
I mean, she was clearly. What did you say at the end of that? Sorry.
And plays hard. Just goes as hard as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you're talking about Laney, I mean, the fact that she was just a motor in there for New York when they needed that, right? They needed a lift. They needed someone, because Stewie was missing. She was 1 for 9, as we were talking about. Sabrina didn't really get going until later. I mean, she was hitting, but I think in the third quarter, that's when Sabrina kind of really started getting comfy with her ability to knock in those threes. And I think there were some miscues on closing gaps on that ball screen that the nail extended at the top, where you just can't give her any time and space. Those two things she can't have. And she had too much of that in that third quarter. But Laney and her impact, especially in that second quarter in particular, I thought she gave New York some leverage and gave them someone to lean on offensively. And they went to her. So credit New York for that too. Like they went to her. They're finding her. I know there were a couple times in New York's quarter court offense where they were able to open up the Mystics defensively, where the help was too far away to rotate to the rim. And I thought Laney paid that action off more than she didn't. I thought she was making herself available to rim run, from the elbows. I thought even if it's not with the ball, I thought she was making hard slice cuts down from that area in the slot. And I thought that she was really effective with staying active on the glass. And I think that was something that bothered Washington too, was New York's ability to get to the rim on second chance opportunities and rebound the ball. We saw that a couple times. And I said that tonight to the fans. It was like, it's going to be about playing great defense and their 2-man game actions, but it's also going to be about controlling the glass, and not giving the really, really tall New York Liberty interior more opportunities to score the basketball. So you want to play percentages, of course, when you're talking about plus or minus on the glass, plus 10, whatever on the glass. I know it's a percentage of how many shots are taken. I get it, and missed. Okay. But at the same time, I'm like, box somebody out. Like,
yes.
You know, and I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, but you're already down Shakira Austin inside in terms of a 6'6" body and frame in there that can help you board. She was averaging 8 boards a game. So you're missing that production. So you got to put your body on and move people back. And it sounds so simple. And you know this as a coach, like, it's, you know, how many times, like, just randomly do you say box out during a game? No. Knowing that the players already know how important it is. But, man, you got to not only box out, but you got to maintain that contact.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening. And when New York opened the game up, they had second and third chance opportunities to get to the basketball.
Yeah. Well, here's a weird thing, actually, because I was with you. I was going to try to find some stats to make us sound even smarter. But, you know, and so on the offensive rebounding percentage wise, New York did out rebound, obviously. Washington, 34% offensive rebound for the Liberty, 27.8% for the Mystics. But that only turns out to be what, like, the Washington got 13 offensive rebounds and New York got 14 offensive rebounds.
But the scoring
second chance points.
Yeah.
19 for the Liberty, 10 for the Mystics. It's a 9-point swing right there, and that's kind of the game.
What was the count? What was the final count?
15.1 for the Liberty. So it's pretty close. You know, you take out the free throws at the end and add those 9 points. And that is the matter, and that's the difference of giving up those rebounds to someone like Jonquel Jones. Who we have to, in fairness to the Mystics, like, a lot of times she's getting her own rebound, which you know, she's right. She, like, the hoop is 10 feet tall. And so long as the hoop is 10 feet tall, it will matter if you are longer and taller than everyone else. So she was able to just grab it over people. But there has to be a definite more commitment there on the offensive glass. And I think now is actually a good time to probably talk about what Washington has to do to get back into this series. Unfortunately, it's only 3 games.
I know,
which, like, every time I say that in my head, I'm like, I'm wrong, right? Like, we've changed that because 3 games is a little ridiculous. Because every time I'm like, please tell me I'm saying something stupid, and someone's gonna be like, no, Gabe, of course it's 5 games. What are you talking about? We played 5 games.
I know.
3-game series. So that basically what I'm asking is how they win the next game. No Shakira Austin, still in New York against this team. And if you had Shakira Austin, I feel like, well, we solved a lot of the problems. She's coming back. We have offensive rebounding is a problem. Jonquel Jones is a problem. You know, having finishing has been a problem. All those things kind of help with Shakira Austin. She's not going to be there regardless. So game 2, how the Mystics win.
Oh boy. Well, number 1, I think they need to, keep the ball in Elena Deladon's hands.
Yep.
And now I'm not saying Deladon shoot 30 shots. Okay. When I say
I'm cool with that.
I'm fine if she does that too.
Of course she shoots 30 shots.
Right. But that's not my sole purpose for my statement. I mean, I would love for her to do that, but I know that's not, feasible. But when you get her the ball, I'm telling you, things change, right? With what the defense does in terms of their scheme. So, excuse me. So when you have Elena Deladon getting the ball, you saw the continuity that they played with in that first quarter. Okay. And whatever happened after that, and I don't know if it was something that, schematically that New York did to get the ball out of her hands, or just, was there just something where it was just not going her way, where the ball wasn't getting in her hands. So what did she shoot in the first quarter? Like shots attempted to shots made.
I will try to find.
See what
she definitely had a better first half in first quarter. She had 6 points in the first quarter on 3 of 5 shooting.
3 of 5.
second quarter. I'm going to try to pull it up. Hopefully this website works. It's a WNBA website.
If it works.
One of 4 in the second quarter for 2 points.
Okay.
The third period, she did not get a shot off in the third period.
That was it then. Because I was like, wow, she's not getting a touch. What do you think that was? Now, what do you think that was? Do you think it was schematic, or do you think, like, were they loading up? Like,
they were loading
before she caught it? Because she's seen everything, okay? Not just now, but when she was at Delaware, okay? Throughout her professional career, she's been MVP twice. So, she's seen double, 2.5 bodies in her space. But it all happens at different times. Is it when she catches it? Is it when she dribbles it? Is it when she faces? Like, there are different rules. But what was it, do you think, in that third quarter?
I definitely think they were. I think they were probably switching it up. You have to switch it up against someone like
loading,
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I did see them loading up at least a couple times. Okay. I'm watching her miss shots now as we speak, just to see what it was. But I think it was just a very concentrated effort on getting to her earlier. And I think one thing that affects teams in that regard is, hey, when you're missing shots, it's way harder. It's way harder when you're missing shots. It is playing defense. It's way harder because now the offense has early offense opportunities. They're coming down at you. And then that's the best time at that point to just throw it up to your best player. So, hey, lay and Deladon wherever you are, boom, get the ball. If we're in early offense, you're going to probably have a mismatch. So you go. So a lot of that was happening in the first half when New York was missing more shots as they settled more into their offense. They did were able to play better defense. And then I also think, some players, I think Brianna, this is not a statement to how good the player is. It's just harder when it's a little bit more physical, and not to say on the body. It's just the way they play. It requires a lot more. It's not skill is the right word, but finesse, right? Finesse. There we go.
Yeah.
A lot more finesse. So when there's a lot more contact being allowed, I think it becomes harder. But also, you have 2 great defenders. I think New York got to tip their hat to the 2 great defenders. They were able to get them onto the other team's best player, and they did a great job.
Yeah. I just think, okay, if she was 3 for 5, then 1 for 4. She got 9 touches in that first half, and then 0 in the third.
Zero field goals attempted in the third.
I don't like that. See, you're talking about what needs to change. Okay, that needs to change. Like, there can't be a whole quarter. And I don't know how many minutes she played in the third, but I know she was out there in the third. But the fact that she didn't get 1 attempt, that's a concern for me. And I'm sure they will make changes and adapt and make some concerted efforts to somehow, get her the ball, whether she takes it off the rim and becomes the initiator. Sometimes that helps, so you don't have to battle for a touch on the block, or get that. They like to run, that little cross screen, the block to block screen. Sometimes that worked well today early on and got her a touch. I remember she finished on that action. So I don't know. I just think it's got to be, glass work has to be a concerted effort, disallowing that discrepancy on second chance points. And then they got to put theirs down, right? If they got to the offensive glass 13 times, they got to put more than 10 points down, right? You got to make them pay. If you're fighting for those extra opportunities, then you got to stick those. And they know that. I'm not saying anything that they don't know or you don't know, but that's just my observation that, that's where you can gain some traction. That's where you can kind of get some of the deficit back. But I think they're doing a good job of walling up with Stewie. I think, they're bringing that second body to her. It's just a bit off balance. Some of those shots she was taking and not making today. And not to say she hasn't made shots off balance. She can make those, but tonight she wasn't, again, against the Mystics. But that could change. And obviously they're going to have to, play Sabrina UNESCO, 2 feet behind the line and stay locked in over top on the screen.
Good luck.
And close the gap. If you get stuck, sometimes you get stuck. Hey, we're human. It happens. And the screen is coming, but just positionally, sometimes you can't squeeze through. It's a solid screen. can't squeeze through. I get it. In those instances, there's got to be quick recognition on closing that gap where she doesn't have that space. And I see one action right now where that happened. You get hung up on that screen, and then the gap is like, it's too wide.
It's an
and
ocean.
she has all day to let it fly, and she doesn't need that much time, man. So those couple things right there, get Deladon touches, quality touches, not grenade, late shot clock touches, okay? Because that you're not going to get that call, okay? Be in control of when she gets touched early in the offense, preferably, and then take care of the offensive boards on both sides. Finish yours, take theirs away, and then on third side, you know, with Sabrina, man, close gaps and just sit right on her lap, man, and not allow her space and time.
I'm watching.
Space and time is like, that's huge. That's huge. Those three things. And I could be missing something, but in my estimation, from what I was watching with the fans, that was the deal for me.
I'm watching I'm just watching some of this game right now to watch some tape because
the fourth quarter. Or where?
I just watch, like generally. I like to do it while you're talking, so then I can like put the things together.
I talk a lot.
No, I like it because then like when you're talking about this space and time, I'm like, you know, let me see that because I remember that too. Let me see if I can find that. I think I kind of have. I'm afraid to show anything on YouTube, so maybe we'll just do like a different show, But like I'm watching, it's just there's one play where it's a pistol action. It's one of those pistol actions with Sabrina coming up out of the corner, and Ariel Atkins is denying her, just trying to like push her back down the baseline, so top blocking her. And Sabrina just like shoves her and then gets downhill and then gives her another little shove, and then Ariel Atkins is kind of looking like, you know, me out there. She's turning around, she has her back to her assignment, and then Sabrina gets a three. It's like, well, you know, it's sometimes that's just the offense creating that space, and that was really great cutting and moving without the basketball. And frankly, I want to show that to several basketball players that I know that could learn how to move without the ball a little better, because that's how she set her up to get that handoff coming back up the top rather than being top locked. That was just really impressive watching that, and I think that goes to your point. That's how she creates so much space, and you're going to just need to have. It's hard to have those good principles of saying, okay, we're going to push it back down. It has to be more of a collective effort, because you're going to need someone to hedge, basically. And then it just becomes really hard because it's like, okay, we hedge, and then now we have the problem of there's Breanna Stewart and Jonquel Jones lurking around, because it's usually, you know, EDD in the pick and roll because she's covering Breanna Stewart. So, okay, now it creates another problem. So, yeah, I mean, she's hitting 30-footers. That she's gonna hit 30-footers. She's gonna hit 30-footers
tonight. One of them was deep. I was like, oh my god, like and it's straight down to that one that I'm thinking of. I mean, she was at least 3 feet, maybe 2.5, but I'm gonna go ahead and say 3 for the dramatics. But I mean, that thing she just pulled. I was like, oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Just took the air out of the building where I was with.
Do you want to make a prediction? I'm guessing. No, you can always say no to the prediction.
I mean, okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, you know, we're out here podcasting. May as well put my podcast hat on and go ahead and give a prediction. Let's go with the Mystics winning a dramatic, gritty, maybe come from behind situation in New York. I mean, the crowd was insanely energetic, as they should be, right? For the home team, responding the way they did after losing the way they did to the Mystics a couple days ago. Okay. And also I want a game 3 to be here in DC. So I think I'm going to see what adjustments are made with the 3 pillars of success that I've laid on the table and see if that happens. And if that happens, guess what? They have a great chance of taking it to game 3 and coming on back here to ESA on Friday. And I know the fans want to see him. So, I mean, they're really excited tonight, even without being in person. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Mystics win a gritty one possession game, maybe come from behind in the fourth, and the same kind of dramatics that they had on Sunday at the end of the regular season with Slim getting some crazy 0.5 second shot to fall for him.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think the Mystics are done.
No,
sorry.
Why are you saying it like that? So easy. Why are you saying it so easy, Gabe? Dude. Wait, what? You cut out. You cut.
Oh, sorry.
Say it again. What'd you say?
I'm just trying to be an objective observer. And I just don't see it. And it's not because the Mystics are a bad basketball team. It's because the other team is extremely good.
Come on now.
Hey, I would love for it to happen. I live in DC. I'd be at that game on Friday.
You would be at the game.
I have a sneaking suspicion I will not be, because there's not going to be. Hey, look! I hope they prove me wrong.
Gabe.
It's a tall task. Okay, here's my real.
They'll fight harder.
I'm sure they'll fight. They fight plenty hard. Chop. They did not lose this game because of lack of fight. They lost this game because the other team is better.
Hey,
sometimes you're not good.
Sometimes you're just not good enough. They out-executed today
because the other team is better at executing.
What? When they split, they were
executing's the game.
They were 2-2 during the regular season.
I understand, but this is not the regular season. All right, if Shakira was there,
man, you got the wiggles tonight, huh? It's late.
I just think without Shakira, it's just like, how is this going to happen? There's no.
The way
this was the time. This was the game. It's just like last year in Seattle. Almost the same. It's the same thing as happened last year in Seattle. No. Seattle, it came in really tight game one. They had a chance. It was right there, and then it just didn't happen. This game, New York shut the door, and this is probably the best chance they're going to have, because I don't think Breanna Stewart's going to score only 10 points again. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to go to that basketball game.
I know, but why would you put that in the atmosphere?
Well, because I have to give my opinion.
We're in the DMV, like the atmosphere needs to stay.
Well, look, I'm more wrong than right. I'm more wrong than right. So perhaps this is this is finally the spark that the Washington Mystics need. Is my not believing, but that's serious. Sorry,
negative juju out of here.
I hope Washington wins. If not, I'm keeping my Friday open. I'm not making plans. Let's move over to the other series, which I have I think is gonna go
hard left.
It's this game was just nuts. So
nuts. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I'm not, I know this isn't live, so no one can fill me in as we talk except for you. So Christy, you're gonna have to fill me in as to what the hell happened. They were up 20, playing easy, like, flying down the court. Ryan Howard is dancing on people. Man, have this dance.
It's funkified with her stuff today.
Alicia Gray was like, she was everywhere. She was like the Flash. It's like she was run into a camera person, and then boom, she's right back in the play.
She was hooping. Yeah.
So she's hooping. Cheyenne Parker hooping. Everyone's having a great time, and then I don't know. They gave up a 20.
Then you went to take a shower.
I went to take a shower, and they gave up a 20-point lead in the entire. They took a 20-point lead in the second quarter, and then gave it up by the end of it.
I mean, first of all, I hate when that happens when you're on the wrong side of that.
It's not like fun.
Yeah, it's not good. But I've been on both sides, so it's like, it's dramatic, but I've seen it happen. But what happened in that segment of the game was, the defensive energy changed for Dallas. Mm-hmm. They started taking things away from Atlanta. They kind of quieted down, obviously, Ryan Howard, who was just in beast mode in the first half, just ridiculous, got completely loose. It took Atlanta out of rhythm. I just think it was all about the defensive pressure that changed. And I think, I know the steal from Arike happened late, but it was on Gray, right? Former teammate and all that, and again,
there was a lot of juice.
little extra, flip of the switch. But Enrique just kind of plucked the ball out of her hands. I think it was like 3 minutes left in the game. But I think it was, and I know that wasn't what you're talking about during that swing, but it was that level of energy on the defensive end. Their ability to turn Atlanta over, the ability to get 3 stops in a row, get some kills, and be able to go down on the other side and score the ball. I think that's what got them back into the game, right? It wasn't that Atlanta all of a sudden stopped doing what they were doing. Dallas stopped them from doing what they were doing. And they did it with their defense. And I just thought that they just poured it on and clawed their way back into the game. It helped that they were at home because then they could feel that momentum. The fans were giving them that little extra energy boost that they needed, to get back into the game and win it. So
great crowd. It was great crowd in Dallas. Defense.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Shouts to our guy Greg Bibb for going nuts. There has to be someone. I need that gift. Someone to
oh, it's Greg.
Greg was going nuts. He had a Steve Ballmer moment when he was going crazy. Yeah, great time. Good for him. They should. This is a huge win. This is a huge win for Dallas. They get that home playoff win. And so what I noticed when I came back from my shower, I noticed a lot more Tierra McCown. I thought she really imposed herself into the game a lot more, and mainly on that defensive end where she's coming across, she's being the rim protector. She kind of took advantage of the heightened physicality, we can say, with the refs in the accomplice. Like they allow a lot more stuff in the playoffs. That's how it's always been across sports forever, and she is benefiting from it because she can be a lot more physical. And it really took it took a ton away from what Atlanta wanted to do because, you like those Ryan Howard highlights, you like those Ryan Howard highlights of when she steps back and hits a 3 on Maddie Siegrist or, taking those step back mid ranges, you like those when Alicia Gray does it, but really you like it when they can just get a wide open layup either in transition or off a cut or something. But as a coach, though, you want what I want. The most beautiful play in basketball when it's my team doing it is a wide open layup, because then it's a wide open layup. True. Hopefully it's literally wide open. Then you have a shot if you miss it. Because if you're like me, I miss it all the time. So you gotta get it back up and put it up. I'm really great at the putback. I should get better at the layup, but that's near here now. So that you take away those opportunities. I think that's what Dallas did, was they just really committed to getting back on defense, to funneling those drives to wherever Tierra McCown was. It was kind of interesting. They just kind of pushed everything to her, no matter where she was. And I thought on the offensive end for Dallas, I mean, Satou Sabally is just continuing, and Enrique had a huge role in the second half, huge role scoring in the second half. But Satou was really the engine of this whole thing, and just another step in that stardom maturity that we've seen all year.
She's healthy. She's healthy. And she hasn't been the last 3 years. I mean, just talk about it. I mean, she's been in and out of the lineup because of injury. And this year she has been fantastically healthy. Except for she did go out at the very end of the game. I think she got hit in the face.
Yeah. She got nicked up a couple times, actually. She got a couple hit in the face a couple times, had a flagrant call or flagrant reviewed against her.
Right. Did she come back?
Yeah, she came back.
At the end.
I mean, well, I think so.
Super late.
I don't remember her being hurt because I'm pretty sure they talked to her after the game. I'll watch it. So what were you saying, Christy, about her gameplay?
Oh, I mean, she was just balanced, right? I just thought that, her ability not to force any action or force any shots. I just thought that her game had such fluidity to it. Where, she knew what the defense was doing and took advantage of it and found her sweet spots all night long. Even in, when they were down, I thought she was still taking quality looks and getting quality opportunities. But I just think she stayed steady all game. And I think that's what she's been doing all season long, to be honest. But, just having her on the floor, I mean, as a floor spacer, but also as an aggressive defender and rebounder. I mean, she brings so many different aspects to the floor that help the team win. I mean, she's impactful in so many different areas. We're not just talking about her offensive prowess and her ability to make shots at an efficient clip, but I mean, she just brings so much extra to the floor. And I'm saying that in a great way, not extra like in a bad way. Like, you know,
extra basketball.
Like her skill set is very in depth, and you have to respect that, right? And I love the fact that she's healthy, and I love the fact that she's gained confidence from, you know, evolving as the year has gone along, with Coach Trammell, and how she's defense first, which goes to them cutting back into this game with their defense and carving out a way to win by locking it down on the defensive side. So,
and she
I mean,
was
I think
okay
they've
at
all
the end
bought
of the
into
game.
that. Say what?
She was okay at the end of the game. I've confirmed.
Oh, hallelujah. Go Satu.
Yeah, no, she did. She does. She has just like that sort of body type that is, you know, I feel like this is all coming together in the NBA and the WNBA.
Yeah.
These sport trends where it's like, oh yeah, someone like Giannis. Well, there's someone like Satu, right? Like it's that type of player now. It's like, okay, there is an Alyssa Thomas, who the original, but like, you know, this is a different type of version where she's longer, lankier. She's kind of more she can rim protect more. She can get around people more. She has more lanes of finishing. She also, there was one time, and I gotta watch this play back. Did you see her do a right-handed finger roll when she was on the left side of the basket?
Yeah.
I guess I don't remember if she kind of Euro stepped or if it was just like, this is easier.
Smooth though. Smooth.
It was really cool.
It was very smooth.
I don't know why it was necessary, but it was really cool.
It was smooth though. And it went in.
It went in. That's what matters the most. But she just has a deep bag, and it's
she really does.
Nice to see her doing this in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's always a different step.
Agreed. It is.
To do it when it counts the most. And for Dallas, this was a huge one. I believe this is their first home playoff victory.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean,
since
they've been in Dallas for 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a major deal.
I'm trying to see when this one last time was. I'm sure it's easily attainable in a different way that I could do. Yeah, so they lost in the first round there. No.
I don't know off the top.
I'm trying to see when was the last time we had a series in the first round for them to win. Okay. I'm gonna go with I believe this is their first home playoff victory.
No, they didn't make the playoffs.
In Dallas.
Yeah. So that's why Greg Big and Jasmine.
He's going nuts. No, you deservedly so.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Friend of the program.
Yes.
Friend of the program.
Office. Yeah.
I say our guy for everyone, but I actually mean it.
It's legit.
Yeah, it's legit.
Legit DC. Legit Mystic.
Yeah, so this must be their first. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the last time they won a home playoff game was in 2015 when they were the Tulsa Shock. So I'm going down on a limb. Congrats, Dallas, on their first playoff win at home in Dallas.
Yeah.
Ever.
And they got them by 12 after being down 20. I mean, that's gritty. Okay, that's fight worthy.
Did you pick up LT on the mics? You can hear it. You can hear her pretty often on the mics, on the like the sideline mics in front of the TV.
Catching her.
They catch it, but she nothing bad. No, it was just
okay,
loud.
Coaches, so I don't know.
It was loud and constant, and Coach Wright was also not quite as much because LT was on one. She was yelling at the refs. She was yelling at her team. She was yelling at the fans. She was yelling at everybody. She was having a great time and a terrible time. You know, it's just it's like one of those games. But she was really loud and it was very entertaining. But I think it goes to that sort of grittiness of like the fight of this team that we've seen all season, that we've talked about, that we've wondered if it's real. If it's real, well, here it is. It's real. Yeah. At least for tonight, it was real.
Yeah, and I think, that's why Coach Trammell was up for Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. I mean, just with, I think it was 19 games that they won at the end of the regular season, which, was a big improvement from last year's win total. So, I mean, Stephanie White, though, it's hard. Everything is difficult when you're trying to do apples and oranges and who deserves what and why. So everyone has their own reasoning. But I mean, Coach Trammell has done an amazing job at just getting her team to buy in. And I think that's what she said, and they came to DC a couple times. I talked to her and, can you come in to a team that has basically the same players on it, but can you come in and really get your philosophy to be bought in to, right? And I think that's what you're seeing now. And even when you're losing like that, to tap back into your principles. And that's what great coaches do, right?
Yeah.
Tap into the principles and not just that, but, to know that your team trusts you and, what you're saying. And even if you have to say it like she was saying a lot of times out loud, sometimes that's what it takes. So kudos to her, for coming in to a new team, but clearly understanding KYP, know your personnel. And that's not just skill set. Know your personnel mentally too. Like coaches need to know their personnel mentally and what buttons to push. And she pushed all of them, honey, and they got the 12-point win.
I love it.
You don't just have to know, skill set of your players. Like, you got to know them as people and what drives them and what motivates them, like encouraging them, to, hey, we can do this if we go back to our core principles on defense.
Keeping them focused and bought in, because a lot of times it's really easy to let go of the rope there. Although that's what
you have to do.
You never want to be down by 20, no. But I'd argue that the best time to be down by 20 is early in the second quarter. Because early in the first quarter, it's like, oh no, like we're gonna get hammered. And anytime in the second half, it's like we don't have enough time to come back. So if you're gonna be down by 20 early in the second quarter, it's like, okay, like just something bad when something went bad here. It's not too bad. Like we're not like this much worse than this team. And we have a lot of time to come back. If we can get it to within whatever 10, 5, back to 0, a half, with the half, that's a time to be down by 20. Right. That's my little rant on when you want to be down by 20, coaches. So if you want to play on that. Regardless, let's make a prediction. Let's do another prediction here.
Predictions.
So, all right, I guess the challenge for Atlanta then would be, I mean, forget schematics. You're up by 20 and you lost. You're going to have to figure out a little bit more than schematics. Like, how do you say, like, just move past that as a team?
Oh, man. I mean, that's a tough way to go out, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have a 10-possession lead and let it falter and then lose by 6 possessions. I don't know, man. I just think, it goes back to the other series. I think when you have your back against the wall and it's like, our season's over if we don't win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you say that to anybody, you challenge character. I don't care what scheme you run, if you don't go hard, it doesn't matter what scheme you run. So I think for both series, I think I'm just going to tap into that mentality of, hey, you're playing desperation basketball right now. If you have to say that out loud to anybody on any team, I don't care if it's 10U, you shouldn't have to say that. They know what's at stake. They know, they're pros, right? They know that if they don't bring it, they're going to take it. And I'm talking about take their bag and go home. They gotta dig in and win. They got to dig in and win. And it's all about the little things. Where I always say there's no such thing as little things because they magnify themselves into being big things. And so I just think it's going to come down to just playing desperation basketball, but executing. And if they do get a lead, then they're going to have to just hold on to that and have their will, be stronger than Dallas. And that's going to be tough at Dallas because the crowd was insanely good. And that energy that they brought was insanely good. So they're going to have that as a challenge as well.
Yep. I think I'm just going with Dallas. I think I'm going to pick all sweeps here in this first set. Because I'm stealing this from Sabrina Merchant. She said this for The Athletic. It's true.
Man,
Like,
give the underdog a chance to fight. You just
I'm
throw
not
the
not
baby
I'm
out
giving
with the
I'm giving them
bathwater,
a
like,
chance.
okay.
I'm giving them a chance. But at the same time, I just think they're. I mean, Atlanta's not. It's not like to me where I'm like, oh, okay, like Dallas is clearly the better team. But I do kind of feel like Dallas figured out something. I do think Dallas is a better team. I think they just can get easier buckets, get
Okay.
more offensive rebounds. Those little things we talked about with New York and Washington. I think all those little factors point to Dallas, along with, if Satu's playing like this,
Yeah.
hey, Ryan's playing amazing. But you
Yeah.
looked at one point in the stat sheet, it was like pretty much the same. It was like, we have Enrique and Alicia matching for the second most points, while Satu and Ryan are competing for the top, like, going head to head. And then you have the centers playing really well together. And it was hard for Atlanta to balance that out as the game went on.
Yeah.
Because of all the offensive rebounds, all those blocks that Tara McCowan had, because of all those, runouts that Dallas was able to get. I just think it was a little bit easier for Dallas. I think they found something, and I think they have a lot more confidence after that second half. Now, I'm with you. I think that Atlanta definitely has a good chance in this one, but I'm just gonna go with the sweep because
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, confidence is huge. I mean, in the playoff, I don't care, like throughout the season for sure, but in the playoffs, that becomes one of those things you factor in which team is playing with a high confidence. Say it again.
He's like for Atlanta, like, sometimes you get blown out. It's almost easier to be like, wow, like let's just forget about whatever that was. But like when you lose like this, it kind of like it's hard to shower. You need a thick, you need one of the scrub daddies. Do you ever use the scrub daddy?
No, what is that?
The ones with the little faces on them?
No.
They're extremely cute. Yeah, I think they're at the
they work well.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, they're hard sponges. They also have one that's like just a hard sponge on one side and a normal sponge on the other, which I'm a big fan of.
Oh, I just use the glove.
You just glove it? For yourself?
Glove, yeah.
Oh, no, this is for dishes. Sorry.
Oh,
I was saying that's what you're going to have to use to get this loss off you.
There. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, God. The dishwasher. See, this is a Latino thing. The dishwasher, it doesn't work. It does not get the dishes clean.
Wow.
It's a heightened level of dish cleaning.
I didn't sign up for that.
I only do like I kind of just like scrape it. Now I do the dishwasher now, but it does bother me sometimes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
Okay, come on.
You're gonna need a heck of a dishwasher to wash out this Atlanta loss. And what I'm saying is you don't have that much time to do it, because when do they play next? I'm not even sure.
Tuesday.
They play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's not a quick turnaround, but it's not a long turnaround either. It takes a long time to wash out a loss like that. Hopefully you're playing someone different. Now you just kind of got to stew in it. And now you're going to just watch a lot of tape, because now you're like, well, there has to be some sort of schematic thing we did wrong. But at the same time, maybe it didn't. Maybe you just have to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then just kind of hope that the other team doesn't catch fire.
And hold the rope, right?
Hold the rope. Yeah.
Hold the rope. Got a 20-point lead. Something got you a 20-point lead.
Yeah.
And you gotta bear down. I mean, that's what postseason is all about. And that's why we love it, right?
Yeah.
That's why we love athletics. A challenge of being able to mentally stabilize yourself to the point of knowing that this just happened, right? Mm-hmm. And not allowing it to happen again. So now it becomes human will. I don't care. Like X's and O's, okay.
I just think,
they factor in, but
Dallas's will and mentality will be. I think Dallas has that will and mentality. So I'm picking Dallas there. So you have 2 game threes. I have none at the moment. I'm gonna tell you what, that ain't gonna change. Gonna put the scores up for these next 2 games, and it was bad, folks. Connecticut, Minnesota. We don't have to talk that much about it. Not only because Calvin and Karina talked about this on Coast to Coast.
Okay,
go listen to that. They talked a little bit more about it. And also, it's a 30-point blowout.
Yeah.
Not much to say. This is a random story, but it's 1 a.m. Might as well tell it.
It's 1 a.m.
Wow. Yeah. No,
time
flies.
I'm up, honey. Go ahead.
Time flies. I have my Pepsi. I'm up. So one of my favorite stories from the University of Miami documentary, the U2, actually, it's a sequel that's on Netflix or on ESPN. So Miami is a powerhouse at this point. We've just won. We won the Sugar Bowl last year. Favorites won the national championship in 2001. Our first game is against Penn State, and Penn State had just upped the population. Yeah, they renovated their stadium and now fit like the most people. It's like 109,000 people, and like they did a bunch of like celebration stuff, and it was huge. And then Miami just comes out and they just crush them. It was like 30 to nothing at half.
Dang.
And so the new coach, Larry Coker, goes up to his team leader, Ed Reed. And he goes, Ed, what should I say to the team at half? And Ed goes,
down 30.
No, they're up 30.
Up 30. Okay.
Up 30.
I'm with you.
And Ed goes, not much. That's what I feel like we have to say about this game. Not much.
All right, I say to them. Yeah.
Because it was a blowout. Yeah. You got practice tomorrow. Connecticut wins 90-60
tomorrow. Right.
You burn the tape. You never look at it again.
Like, yeah, no. Sure.
And you hope that you come out better. Did you see much of this game?
I did. I was watching that, and it was just, I thought, I don't know how many fast break points Connecticut had, but it was certainly a lot. I didn't look at stats, but was that? I thought
16 to 3.
There you go.
Oof.
That's what I remember about that game, that it was like this in Connecticut's favor.
30 points off turnovers. Oof.
There you go. That part. And it was live ball, and the pace was crazy. And it was like this layup, like push with the pass, layup. I'm like, dang, that's what it felt like. But I didn't even know it was like that. 30. God, man, there's the difference on the game. So 16 to 3.
It's a big difference. If you're looking like, man, if we only had the points off turnovers, it was 30-6.
That's the difference maker. Hey, that's what the game felt like, though. And without even looking at those numbers, that's what it felt like. And I just thought, obviously is that fixable, right? Take care of the basketball a little bit better. Get to the second chance opportunities a little bit better, more often.
Well, there's many problems.
That's a lot. But if you can,
there's not just one problem.
No, but if you can take away a couple of them and get yourself close, give yourself a chance. See, that's all I'm saying.
Look, hey,
I'm the glass half full person here, clearly, because you're just like, nah.
I mean, it's a quick turnaround. Well, all right. Maybe I was a bit too flippant about the Mystics. That's not because of the Mystics. That's because of New York. Dallas and Atlanta, there's a great chance for a game 3. I don't think there's a chance of game 3 here.
No.
I mean, it'd be one of the greatest stories.
You don't think Minnesota can fight? You don't think Phoenix?
I think they can fight. Can they fight for 30 points? The difference here is not in fight. Because clearly, if it was a 30-point difference fight, Minnesota would not be in the playoffs.
No. I mean,
so the difference has to be in that Connecticut's just better and is not a good matchup.
Good. Even without Brianna Jones, which is why, Stephanie White, man, hats off. That's my dog. Hey, listen, Stephanie, you're doing that, honey bun. I tell her all the time. She's doing a great job. But, they're missing Jones inside, shooting 67% from the floor. And that's around, I don't know if that's specifically what she was shooting, but it was close to that before she went out with that Achilles injury. And they're still out there hooping. And, Alyssa Thomas, triple-double queen this year.
Can I have a quick rant? Quick rant. All right. So I have not said that I'm not Alyssa Thomas is the MVP person. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, so Steph White gets coach of the year. Because of what you just mentioned. She coached this team through a major injury and has gotten them to the second seed or the third seed, the third seed. They're looking like they can make a playoff run.
Yeah.
Kurt Miller did the same thing 3 years in a row.
He really did.
And the one constant between all of these things. And there was a season where she was not there. So maybe there's a different
Achilles for her. Yeah.
Right. But Alyssa Thomas has been at the center of pretty much every time that this has happened to this team. So
you're right.
At some point we gotta be like, maybe she is the most valuable player because they just need her. Right? Like
Very
everything else, this whole organization has changed in the
Yeah.
time that they've gone to the 2019 finals.
Yeah.
You know, the whole organization's changed over, and no more John Quill, no more Jasmine Thomas, no more Kurt Miller, no more. You know, you can pick out a number of people. It's all new, except for Alyssa Thomas.
Wow, look at you ironing that out.
So I don't know if it's worth an MVP award, but it's worth some sort of. Can we make like an MVP of the last? If there was an MVP of like the last 5 seasons, I think Alyssa Thomas gets it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You said
maybe
that.
Brianna Stewart. Maybe Brianna Stewart. But I would say it's just like she has to. I mean, she has to be the most. The team goes with her literally. As long as she's healthy, they win. Doesn't matter the coach. Doesn't matter the supporting cast.
Yeah, the engine. I like that. That's a very intriguing philosophy you brought to the table, my friend. I do like that, and I do like the fact that she's had just a ridiculously spectacular season this year, and it was really hard. Again with the voting, apples, oranges, whatever. But I don't know. I always say it: best player and best team, and it's so hard to not give a nod to A'ja Wilson.
Absolutely.
God,
I think
that for me, and other people have their own way. And I see Alyssa, on third place team, and that's great.
I think, and those 3 choices are all very good. And honestly, I have the other 2 ahead of Alyssa for this season. But I'm just thinking, I'm like, if there's you had Alyssa too? Yes. Oh, fair. Well, I'm sorry. I meant those. I had So those 3 are in the same like group to me though. It's like if you voted any of those 3 first or third, I understand. I think they're all fairly there. But I'm just thinking like, man, Alyssa deserves something.
I know.
For this.
What do you?
Because like it's not like, hey, Steph White did a great job. She deserves Coach of the Year. That's not what I'm saying. But like we gave Coach of the Year to both Kurt Miller and Steph White for doing the exact same thing. Coaching Alyssa Thomas while one of her best players was injured. Wow. You are preaching to the choir over here because I'm making a lot of sense at 1 o'clock in the morning. You got me on 1,000 thinking about that right there. But that's true. The last 5 years. Let's put that out there. Can we put that out there and make it a little graphic and make it a thing? I could try to clip it. Do that little, because I think that's intriguing to think about. I'm not sure if it's the last 5 years. It's somewhere. I'll clip this together because I do want to. I'm like confused as to what I'm trying to give Alyssa Thomas. She deserves something though. Well, listen, an award. She had an Achilles injury and she came back in the same season. Well, and before the season was over, and was moving great. Like it was like she was a robot. And the fact that she has no labrums in her shoulders. Crazy. What? And either one of them. And she's out there triple doubling people consistently, not just a one-time show, right? Well, she's like rocking and rolling with triple doubles and double doubles like a machine. So maybe we just have an award. We just have an award for like, we have an Alyssa Thomas award, and every year we just give it to Alyssa Thomas because like she deserves something. I don't know. That's on a t-shirt. It's like Dano right now. He has like his tear. He like puts people into tears, and one of the tears is always Enrique. Yeah, but Enrique's not in it. This could be the Alyssa Thomas award. It's like, okay, we get Alyssa Thomas can't win it, so it's another award that Alyssa Thomas is not going to win. But it's about what Alyssa Thomas does. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just describing the most valuable player. It's late. Let's say one. Okay. All right. Wait, let's pick. Is this going to game 3? Who's negative now? Cheryl, I love you. Rebecca Brunson, you guys, Katie Smith, I love y'all. Enjoy the gonna be tough. Gonna be tough if they mishandle the basketball and give them 30 fast break points. Can't. And 16-3 or whatever it was. Those numbers can't happen again. And even minimally, even half of that is still bad, I think.
they've really got to have a quick turnaround on Sunday. And I would say I'm gonna stick with my rainbows and unicorns, and I'm gonna say they're gonna go 3.
Good.
Because I have love for Cheryl. Those are my girls and Fee.
I love all the people you just mentioned. I hope they enjoy their early start. But this is a late start. This is a late start to the vacation.
Yeah.
The 4 teams at home got an early start.
They're an early start.
Indiana, LA, Phoenix, Seattle. Phoenix, Seattle, and LA did not make the playoffs. I wonder if that's the first time in WNBA history.
It has to be. I was going to say it's been a minute. I know it's been 10 years since Phoenix missed.
It's been Indiana that is setting no records.
No, they made me lose my bet with you last year, so I'm
stayed away from betting on Indiana this year. So Indiana, not surprising, but that's good for them though. They just
had a great year.
They're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, they are moving in the right direction. Young in the league.
They will all be hoping that Caitlin Clark wins the national championship and decides that's enough at Iowa. But that's another show. That's another show. So no, this is not going to 3 though. Let me just. This is not going to 3. I hope Minnesota. You had a good year. You had a good comeback. Way to make the playoffs. You ran into a team that's just. It's A. The better. B. I don't think they're a good matchup. That being said, Minnesota has pulled off some upsets against specifically Connecticut.
They have.
Not crazy.
It's happened though.
Here's a series that I'd be shocked. Well, we could just get to the end here. We could skip to the end about Las Vegas, Chicago. Las Vegas 87, Chicago 59.
Yeah.
That in the business is what we say is not good. That's not what you want to see.
I'm laughing with you, not at them.
that's not
in trouble with my friends on these teams and the coaches.
It's not what you want. I don't think you can argue with that. It is definitely not what you want to see on the score sheet when you're looking at it. If you're a Chicago Sky fan or personnel, did not shoot well, didn't particularly hold on to the ball well. They didn't get out rebounded, so there's that.
Yeah,
but otherwise, just a no good, bad game. Tough times.
Yeah,
Chicago though. Irrational confidence extraordinaire, I would say. Chicago has that sort of like, hey, we lost by $1 billion in game 1, but we will win game 2. Like, I think they're that type of team. I don't think it's going to happen.
$1 billion?
They did not lose by $1 billion. I'm saying if they did lose by $1 billion, lose by $1 billion, they would be okay.
That's a lot. There's a lot though. But there was like a full command by the Aces from second 1 to the final second of this game. Like full command. And, people talk about, the offensive prowess. Okay, they put up 87 points on the board. But, I think a lot of people missed the mark on Las Vegas being the number 1 defensive rated team in the league. Mm-hmm. Like, can we talk about that sometimes too? It's almost like when you talk about Golden State, right? When they won, and not just their most recent title, but, back a couple of years, everyone's like, oh my God, their offense, they just spread you out. They just do this, boom, 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 boom. They don't miss shots. They take quality opportunities at the rim on the offensive side. But they were like the second best defensive rated team when they won the title one time. I was like, can we talk about their defense a little bit? So I think I feel the same way with the Aces, right? We're talking about, oh my gosh, they have Jackie, they have, Asia, they have Chelsea Gray, all these people, they're hooping. And I'm like, okay, but look what they're doing on defense. And yes, Chicago, 59 points, but, they were missing shots because they were disrupted heavily, by the defensive energy that the Aces brought to the table from second 1, like the first second of the game, like they were under fire. They were under fire every time they took a shot. There was not a lot of uncontested opportunities for Chicago, and 59 points. It was not good, like what you said.
And that's what we call not good in the business. It's and that is why there will be no game 3? Question?
No. I think this is my only series where I'm going to say that this is That's gonna be it.
Put a fork in them.
And when I sniff after I say something, apparently, my daughter Brianna says like that means that's it.
That's it. That's the end of it.
That's it.
Well, that's the end of it because I agree. I think sweeps across the board for Gabe. Only one sweep for Christy, and that would be the best team in the league.
Yeah, and three rainbows and unicorn situations.
I think one of them will happen. There should be 1 game 3. Although this should teach the WNBA not to have 3-game series. We could have easily had a 5-game series. Like, who needs this much time off? Who needs this much time off? Like, I'm not. Well, I guess because because these are home games. We don't need this much time off. We should be playing on Saturday. Like, these 2 teams should be playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I would like that actually, because now the anticipation of waiting is like I'm not very patient.
So that's what I like about the NBA. The NBA first round hits you like a bullet train. It's like you got games. You have like 4 games to watch tonight, buddy. Like you have to really lock in. And it's like, it's like I don't like put it back. It's like we're going 5 games and we're fitting this in. You can fit it almost in the same time frame. That should, but so that's one of my goals with the sweeps across the board. Teach a WNBA lesson, because then if it was 2-0, guess what? Still got to win 1 more. Everyone gets a home gate. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. With
yeah. But it's not the single elimination. Not the single elimination.
No, more games.
We like more. Yeah, not less.
5 games.
5 is good. 5 is solid. I like 5.
I think
5 is a great number.
5 is the best. Actually, I wish the NBA would come back down to 5.
5. Oh.
That's like opening the Pandora's box. You can't. Once you go more bigger, you can't go smaller.
No, I mean that's when the Mystics won in Game 5, right? And that was such a crazy, intense game, and it felt like 7, but it was 5. But it was 5 and not 3. 3 is
too small.
I understand it is what it is, but 5 is great.
5 is great. 7 is good.
7 is good.
Well, 7 should be the end. We should be at 7
in the finals. Yeah, it should be 5, 5, and then 7.
My point is we don't have to wait this much time. We have 2. We have a game on Friday, game on Sunday. Then we have a travel day. So then we have a game on Wednesday. We have a game on Wednesday. We have a game on Friday. I've just fit 4 games.
Yeah.
No, I fit 3 games, right?
3 games. Yeah.
No. I fit 4 games.
Every other day.
Friday, Sunday,
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
To have a travel day.
Travel day.
One travel day. So Wednesday and then Friday. I've just fit 4 games into the same amount of time we're fitting in 3 games. Call me. I have the plan.
Oh, yeah. Somebody call Gabe.
And then if we have a 5th game, great. The 5th game is going to put a lot more revenue. We put those babies on Sunday. Oh, no, we need a travel day. I see the problem. Oh, we can start this thing on Thursday. Whatever.
Yeah. Back it up.
We got more solutions.
Back it on up.
Kathy, call me.
Oh, Gabe, man.
No one has a phone like this anymore. I wonder how much longer we can do this.
I know, but it's funny.
At some point though, this is gonna disappear as like a phone.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you do it? Just call me.
No, they don't call people.
You can't even do it.
All they do is text. I've never seen a kid pick up a phone.
Text me. You should say text me. I don't know. That's
all right, Christy. Get us out here. We need to go home.
My feeble attempt at humor. Yeah, I've been balling up my hair in the back. I gotta tie my hair up. It's time for night. We're going to bed, y'all. Thank you all for joining us on this edition of Courtside with Christy and Gabe right here on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. The playoffs are continuing with these Game 3 series that we want to push to 5. But anyway, we'll discuss that on our next edition of Courtside with Christy and Gabe. So until next time, for Gabe Ibrahim, I'm Christy Winter-Scott, and we will see you courtside.
Bye.